What's going on, guys? And welcome back to episode 88 of the Offshore Gamescast. I'm Dave with a brace.
And I'm Lyle without a brace, but with
Good
a
for you,
ring.
Lyle. Ring? I got brace and ring.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. Um, uh, Dylan can't be here today. We had to do a little reschedule. We're doing things a little later. Dylan is currently working for the man, so
We lost him
uh,
to capitalism.
we'll pour out a little one. We'll pour out a little for him, but we're gonna pour it
Yes,
into my mouth.
Dylan, love you.
Oh. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about Atomic Heart. Um, we'll get into it. Please do all the fun stuff. Head to our website. We got some merch up. We have some new exciting things. We have a new little logo that we threw in the top corner. I threw it
It's
together
so
in
good.
like
Dave made it. You need
I
to
threw it,
praise
I
it.
threw no. I threw it
Yeah,
together in
you
5
do.
minutes. I was bored at work, and it just kind of looked good in '90s. And then Dylan fell in love with it. Whatever. I'm happy we all like it.
It's really
good.
cool. It's cool. It's very cool.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Head to us at everywhere. We're doing really good on TikTok, YouTube. Really appreciate all the love and all the. It just feels like things are going real good. Things are piling up. Ever since Lyle's here, things are going good. We changed the format. Everything's fun and crazy. But today we're going to be doing Atomic Heart. Coming up in the next few weeks, we got Lyle's going to be doing The Pale Beyond on March 21st. Sounds like it's going to be fun.
It's gonna be.
Dylan just started Scars Above, which is going to be his on March 22nd, and coming back on April 4th. It's a little late, but I can't stop playing it. We're going to be talking about Octopath Traveler 2.
That's gonna be an episode.
It's surprisingly, it's not going to be as long as you think. This doc is
Really?
longer than the Octopath one.
Really?
There's only so much you can do with how
Okay.
narrative something like that is, but I'm
Yeah.
very, very excited.
Me too.
But with that out of the way, let's do this, I guess.
Oh, one thing before we get into it.
Yes. Yes, Lyle.
Fuck Putin, fuck the Russian government, and fuck the military officials waging war in Ukraine. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, hate's bad. Just knock it off. Fucking we gotta find what's the Russian equivalent to a ruler and slap Putin on the nuts.
I don't know. I think
It's probably just a ruler, but you know.
Probably.
So we're talking about Atomic Heart, being developed by Mundfish, published by Focus Entertainment. It came out not too long ago on February 21st, 2023. If you want to play it yourself, it is on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, PS5, PS4, and PC. It's also on Game Pass Day 1. That's how I played it.
Same.
I want to start off with some of the good things I like about it, because up until a certain point, it really started to be what I wanted, and then it kind of fell downhill pretty far.
That's always a good way to start. I'm gonna start with the positives.
I'll be mixed around. It'll be all over the place, kind of like how Atomic Heart is all over the place. I mean, firstly, ever since it was announced, it's had such a style to it, to which one of the best things about it is it has an incredibly creative, and it's this wacky world. It's got so many crazy, dazzling sights. It's got pretty disturbing enemies at some points, which I like, and just some fun ways to explore if you want to explore.
I honestly thought when I first saw it, it was gonna be a Souls-like.
Honestly, it felt like that based off the bosses they showed. It definitely seemed more Soulsy.
That's what I
100%
thought.
agree.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw the trailers.
There's the one main boss. His name is Hedgie, but he's like the ball that's rolling around that he's been focused on a few times. Based off the dodging and whatnot, and just the use of one of the weapons being an axe, it felt very first-person Dark Soulsy.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting. When I don't really talk about it too much, but when it comes to certain games, I do it constantly, like little nitpicks and stuff. But I imagine if like what game like Atomic Heart, what are its parents? Where did it take inspiration from? How many games had to have an orgy to have Atomic Heart be born?
How many did you come up with?
So we got a bunch here, based off like different mechanics, designs, like design choices most of the general community can relate to, like one or two titles. Firstly, is one of the most obvious, and a little side one. We have BioShock and Metro Exodus, two very similar games in the sort of like similar to Atomic Heart, you're given an area, an environment. Now, while Metro Exodus has their world open, it's a full open world to explore. It's sort of mission wise divided down into like sections. So, like, take your boat over here. You're at this big train yard. You have like an antenna, and you have the train yard, and your whole point here is to explore this one area. So you're solely focused there. Same thing with Bioshock, except that's more linear in this way of going here to here. But you're in this area, and it's got that similar sort of looting feel where you're going around collecting your resources, just trying to be up on survival based off all the enemies you got around you. The
The
next
looting
set,
was definitely a thing. It really wanted you
100%.
to loot a lot.
Yeah. That's we'll get there. We'll get there. Um, the next sort of duo would be Cyberpunk 2077 and Wolfenstein. I said Atomic Heart feels like it soaks up a lot of what other games have, but the gruff, deep voiced, partial, I don't give a fuck, let me just go and shoot you feels right up there with these games. Both those main characters, like you were saying, the Duke Nukem, like
Oh
I'm
yeah.
here and it's like it at a point it becomes so fucking obnoxious to which we were saying this before. People have said that this game is almost trying to be like a parody of other types of games like this, but it does shit so bad and it's frustrating.
Yeah, we said that just before we started. It doesn't feel like a parody. If it's trying to be a parody, then it's very bad at it. It
It's
feels like
ever
it's
since
taking itself too seriously for that.
with all the videos, all the promo and like marketing beforehand, it felt like it's so serious, like you're supposed to be involved in this world, but everything is just so ripped apart, taken from somewhere else, just copy and pasted, and it doesn't work together.
No.
And like there's this like, yeah, we have this dude who kind of feels like he fits in this environment, but he's just kind of like an asshole and he doesn't know what's going on.
And
And
he's just
we'll make
rude to everyone, even
yeah,
the people who are trying to help him.
he wants to hurt everybody because he thinks he's so set in his ways, and that's another thing we'll get into later. The next little couple I would say would be like a Far Cry and Dead Island. This is sort of where the overworld exploration comes in, and its sense of you can drive. One of the big things is you can drive around in this game. Uh, that's like one of the big things with Far Cry, open world, driving around, stopping, fighting some enemies, going around specific areas. Dead Island kind of brings in the aspect of how basically the entire set of roads in Atomic Heart are just full of obstacles. So like just like in Dead Island, you're not going to be able to just drive down a road and be fine. You're constantly hitting the brakes, going around cars that are like stuck. There's enemies spewed about. Maybe a billboard fell down and you got to like drive off the road and go around. It's not just like a simple let me just go. There's this world is falling apart, and this is where the world is going to be.
Yeah. You
Um,
need those obstacles in the way. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fun.
but here's one of the ways that it's really not fun, because the cars are boring enough. The only things that you can drive are these red four-door sedans. It is the exact same red four-door sedan scattered around like almost every half mile in the game.
I mean,
Because
that
when you
tracks with
drive these
communism.
cars, but the reason there's one every half mile is because when you drive these cars and you either go a little too fast and you hit something, or you hit about up to, I think once it's your fourth or fifth enemy, that shit starts smoking and we're fucking low. So you will have to run out of the car, run to wherever it is next, and then find another car and keep going and hope to not crash with all these obstacles in the way. I'm like, this is pissing me off.
That does not sound fun. That is very, very true.
No, if your speed is high enough and you hit an immovable object, you will quickly become a stoppable force. Um,
That sounds like the old GTA games. Like in the newer ones, they took care to not
yeah,
wreck your car immediately and like let you
but
drive a bit.
and this is like GTA 4 driving. You go a little too fast and you turn that steering wheel, you're gonna start slipping. There's ice on that ground.
Ah.
It's the middle of spring and there's ice all over the place. This is
Mm.
so much fun. Uh,
Hooray.
the last little comparison. So this is number 7. This is a full orgy.
This sounds like a fun party, to be honest.
It does. A lot of people are arguing though between themselves. We have Fallout, and it's pretty much just in the fact of the retro theme in the cartoons. Like as you're going through the skills, you have the straight up like Atomic Hearts version of the Vault Boy cartoons of them like doing stuff in like the 1960s or 50s animation.
You know,
It's cool.
with all the controversy around this game, which I do understand, um, the one thing I don't really get is that people say that this glorifies communism and blah blah blah. But I mean, Fallout did the same thing, just the American way, and I think
Yeah.
both games take care to say this is not the message of the game. It's
No.
we are criticizing
Yeah,
exactly what
look,
we are
here's
showing
communism
you.
in a game. Doesn't it suck? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
and people are just like, "Oh my god, they put communism in it." It's like, well, yeah. Are you opening your eyes? Like,
Yeah. That's the one criticism I don't really get, because there are American versions of this that do not criticized for the same thing. So
no, it's too many outside aspects of it. The
yeah.
fact alone that this game is not made in America is a big part of it.
I mean that the game is made by a Russian developer. I get that that's
That's an even bigger
cu-
part of it.
currently eh,
Finny.
a thing.
Goodness. Um, I have sort of some other similarities and whatnot, but one of the big fun things that Atomic Heart does is its hacking. Did you get to do some of that on some of those doors? They're like these
Yeah.
big, the circle. I can't really relate to it. It's almost like suction cup magnets, almost like you'd put it like on a car to make it so it doesn't drive. Like that's what my brain equates it to.
Yeah, that's
But they keep
true.
the
Yeah,
door
yeah.
shut.
The
They
different
have
mini
these.
games they do.
Yeah, they have these circular magnet locks with three holes, empty spots for these modules of different mini games you can put in. And I feel like there's games like Hogwarts Legacy that came out recently where even though you will go out and get all the demiguise statues and you'll level up lockpicking or whatever to level 2 and level 3, it's the exact same fucking mini game with no extra difficulty from the first one. You're just doing it 100 times because Hogsmeade is full of fucking locks and locks inside locks, and you're just putting the green dot and the red dot, and you're trying to find. Yep, that's it. It doesn't get harder. It's not. It sucks. That's one of the big things I hate about that. But Atomic Heart has these fun little mini games and these modules, and some of them are just side based. Some of them are main story based, where you have to go find like there's this disc, almost like this like viewfinder disc that you put in and like you twist it like a gotcha machine.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
they have one where there's almost like this bunny face. It's like the most used one, and it's a timer of 30 seconds. These
Mm-hmm.
coil tubes pop out with a light that goes around. There's 5 out of 8 coil tubes that pop out, and this light goes around in like a little quick fashion, and you have to click it at the right time to bring one of the tubes in, to which it will then go the opposite direction and faster. You have to keep doing this all the way around until you get all 5 in, and if you click the wrong one, it'll pop back out.
It
But
took me so long to realize that it goes clockwise and then anti-clockwise. I was just pressing the button like, I do not understand how this
it
works.
took me a little bit too. I had to come out with a formula because usually it's like these two, and the bottom one. So I'll
Yeah.
do this one, and it'll go all the way around. I'll do this one, and it'll go boop boop boop, and then be done.
Yeah. That took me
There's
way
another
too
one.
long.
They get me sometimes, and they change and they're always shifting, and some are, and it's like, oh my god, and there's enemies coming. I'm like, come on, no
Yeah.
fucking door. There's another one which is even harder, which has those little tubes pop out, but they're color associated. And as you're spinning this dial, there's a little section on the bottom with 3 circles that when a color falls into it, you can change its position based on those 3
Oh
spots.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
And then you have to turn it and get it like the right combination to match up with the colors. When enemies are coming, that one's impossible. There's no like
Yeah.
I'm sitting there for like 2-3 minutes, like, come on, what the fucking stupid god damn, and I'm getting hit coming out of it, swinging my axe. All right, come on, open the fucking door. Um, There isn't really much more after that, at least not that I've noticed based off some exploration. But I mean, it's more fun. It gives you a little extra, which I do
Yeah.
like.
The mini games I actually like too, far more than the BioShock one. The BioShock one always the hacking
I'm a
mini game drove me insane.
I'm a huge fan of BioShock, and I always will be. The timing of the one line going back and forth, I'll always do, and the pipe mini game is always one of my favorites.
Ah,
I it does
no,
not bother me.
no, no,
It's
no.
I love it too
Keep
much.
it away. Keep it away from me.
Going on to the story and some of its aspects is where it really starts to fall apart. Because based off its enemy designs, its world, and everything that Atomic Heart looks to be different, it is fucking BioShock again. Nothing is different. If you played BioShock, this is it. It's just more obnoxious and annoying in
I'm
almost
so
every way.
curious to hear where this is going because I only played 4 hours of this.
Yeah, I got to a point that we'll get to. I beelined. I couldn't anymore. So we'll start off. We have you. Your main character. Your name is P3. You have a real name. It's Sergei Nechayev, but you're designated P3. You're like the one of the strong mercenary bodyguard things for this big dude named Sechenov, who is. We're gonna equate this out the easiest I can. P3, aka Sergei Nechayev, is Jack from BioShock, the main character. Okay?
Mhm.
Sechenov, your boss, is Andrew Ryan
Of
from
course
BioShock.
he is.
Um, you have this thing called a polymer glove. That's one of the things in this altered timeline. This polymer is sort of do all. It could work on machines. It works. It makes the robots work. It's like this goop. It's almost like the blob, like this clear blob. You have this polymer glove with an AI chatbot in it called Charles. Charles.
Him I liked. He was cool.
He was cool. He's fucking I can't remember his name. He's Atlas or whatever
Oh!
from BioShock.
Oh! Oh!
And you know what happens at the end? He becomes this big fucking goop monster that's basically Frank Fontaine.
No!
It is, I swear to fucking God, to a fucking T, and it pisses me off.
Oh, that's. I did not expect that to happen. That's
It is,
bad.
it's bad because, well, you know what? I'm sorry. Spoilers right away. This game pisses me off. I'm sorry if you've already been. Sechenov dies. He dies. Like Andrew Ryan dies. Um, you die at the end. You die because
Oh,
this Frank Fontaine character takes over. That's the one difference. You die. Frank Fontaine takes over, and he's like this goop polymer jelly guy. And apparently, Charles is the AI of Sechenov's old buddy who helped develop the polymer, and he's mad,
the
so he's
guy
been
who dies
pretending.
at the beginning?
I
The guy
think so.
the guy you're sent to apprehend at
I don't even
first?
fucking remember the beginning of the game at this point. All I remember is sitting in the boat, and that's another thing that made me think of Metro Exodus. I'm just in the boat, and it looked really pretty. Like that was pretty much it. I don't fucking remember anything else.
I didn't get to the boat.
So I wrote down in my things. Um, P3, you, the good old Comrade Major, which Charles calls you constantly,
Oh yeah.
fucked up and brainwashed, thinking Sechenov saved him from the war that just happened. You're just mentally fucked up and do bad things because you do not know any better, but it feels so obnoxious. This whole thing is basically like you've just been brainwashed. You
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
I feel like that's so obvious from the first second that you hear about Sechenov.
Yep.
I was like, okay, he's very much not the good guy. He very much did not save you, and it's so
Yep.
obvious if you played any game or watched any movie ever.
But at
You
the same
knew.
time, you get to the end of it and you find out Andrew Ryan's not really the bad guy. Just like Sechenov isn't really the bad guy. They both have the things that they're doing that they think is right, but then there's the other guy who's really the bad
Oh,
guy.
really? Yeah.
Um, So we have Charles, the happy little AI chat librarian in your polymer glove. He's smart and definitely not Frank Fontaine. Um, we have the twins, probably one of the most iconic parts and well known of this game. They're called Left and Right. The one with the jacket is left, the one without is right. The iconic twins, Sechenov's bodyguards, and probably fuck toys, because that even becomes a
Oh,
thing that they bring up.
those are the two you meet in the
Yes.
beginning. Okay. And they
Mm-hmm.
are called Left and Right?
Yep.
So creative.
To which they're pretty much just the big sisters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sechenov is like your boss and is in control of the robots going crazy. By the way, the robots are going crazy. That's the whole point of this game. There's a big conspiracy in the government, and you are starting to figure it out. He's definitely not Andrew Ryan. It's overall the story is very short. You go between these underground sections, to which you said even after 4 hours, you didn't even make it up to the overworld.
No.
You're
I
underground
died
for
a lot.
you do. Did you have it on normal?
Yeah.
I did too, and I had to put it down to easy because I was having much more fun that way.
I can
There are
I
some
can
parts.
imagine. I really we are going to talk about gameplay, I'm sure. I did not
Yeah,
like the combat, especially the melee combat.
no, we will. They fuck you. They fuck you on purpose, and it's stupid.
No.
Um, the story is kept in like these three short acts where you kind of go above ground, go over to this other area, go underground again, do like a whole hour or two, come back up and do it again until you get to the shitty ending. Um, the world is overall like large into that you can explore. There's really no incentive to whatsoever,
Oh,
and like my
I have one thing I want to mention. You know, in the
yeah
very, very beginning, where you get that cool cutscene where you like force grab the axe with your glove.
yeah.
The axe didn't load in for me, so I was just I was like,
Up,
"What the fuck are you
up.
doing?" I just saw him like grabbing in, and then when I got back to the game, he had an axe in his, and then I was like, "Oh,
Oh my god!
that's what he was grabbing."
Just here's nothing.
Yeah,
The game isn't terribly unpolished, but it definitely
no,
isn't fully ready.
I think that was almost the only glitch. There were a few things, but that was just one that stood out to me because I was like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah. Oh boy. My last main note that I had for that story section is just why the fuck did they do BioShock again?
Probably
And
because they thought it was cool, but yeah.
fucking lame. Moving on to the world. Overall, the best thing I can say about it is it looks very good. It's pretty. Everything is nicely rendered at points. The resolution's good. It all looks very nice,
That's
shiny, RTX.
that scene where you fly in your car in the very
You mean the
beginning.
7 fucking minute
Yeah.
long scene?
Yes.
I've watched some extra videos. Apparently, it takes about 25 to 30 minutes to actually start doing anything.
Yes, it does. It does, which is also very BioShock because that was the same thing in Infinite. Um,
Mhm.
but that was still very, very pretty. That beginning scene
Yes,
where you just. It's boring, but it's pretty.
it's kind of unfortunate, but it makes sense lore wise. The underground is all very samey, but it's all
Yeah.
factory like. It can be shiny, everything looks nice, but when you get to the above like world, it's all very there's so much saturation in the colors. It pops. It's all very nice to look at as you're exploring. Those red cars that are going to blow up, they stick out very much so. Um, the one of the first things that you come across that I think is one of the cooler things that it has to offer is this sort of polymer where scattered around as part of like the exploration and just from getting to certain places is this like large anti-gravity goop that is like wiggling all around in different places that is super rigid on the outside but is straight water on the inside. What you do is you could just hop into it and then just like swim up and around and then like get to like a higher spot and just like pop out of it by hitting B or circle.
Yeah,
Um,
I always think it's really cool when games find creative ways to let you explore in a vertical way.
yeah,
And I thought that was really cool.
that aspect is really cool. It's you while you're in this sort of gel water, there's no like oxygen meter. Like you could stay in
Yeah.
there for as long as you want. Though later in the game, when you're more in the outworld or in those combat sequences, that is not a shield. You will get shot, and you can't do anything about it unless you hit B and exit and fall wherever you fall. You're going to get shot.
Ah, oh no.
There's nothing you there's no way to defend yourself, and
Yeah.
with how confusing it can be on the inside with the
Yeah.
leaves. At some points it's super clear, at other points it's confusing. You're just going to be going in circles, like spinning around while you're getting shot, and there's nothing you can do.
And then you're dead.
So going on to the actual exploration of the above world, there's no reason to. Basically, there are upgrades in the game, and you can basically find those throughout part of the overworld. There's blueprints and you get the stuff you can get, but this type of game, you're not really needing to use more than the kind of weapons and tools you already have available. There's no real need to go out and get them. And with the hostility level of the above world, it just it's more frustrating to go out and explore than it is to hash it out.
Yeah, I heard that the game really wants you to sneak around, which is almost impossible because the robots will detect you anyway.
There are cameras, these things called the dandelion camera, that are all over the place. They see you, it sends up one alert where the robots come after you. If you kill a robot, that sends up an alert level 2, and then everyone's coming after you. And if you're playing on normal, you're going to get taken down because you do not have the resources. Even with the abilities and other stuff that you have, you are going to get cornered. And when you get cornered, you can't just jump and get out of the way. They hold you there. So you either got to like kill them fast or you're dead. There's
Yep.
nothing you could do.
I even had that happen in the underground section that I played. That
Yep.
one camera I didn't see, and then there was like 20 drones all in one place, and I was like, okay, I'm fucked now.
Yep. Yep. They really overwhelm you in such a frustrating way that it makes it so not fun.
Yeah, and then as I said with the combat in general, I just didn't gel with it. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's because I played with mouse and keyboard and that just wasn't a good way to play the game. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
I got so confused in Melee with where the enemies were. I just
Yeah.
could not keep track of them because they moved so fast, and especially with the X, it takes so long to attack.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I just lost track of all the enemies. There was one section in the underground level where I was going like through a tube station, and they sent 3 enemies on you on a very small platform. I think I died like 4 or 5 times to them until I
Mm.
could finally get rid of them. It was
It's
so
probably around that
frustrating.
point where I ended up putting it down to easy because it was
Yeah,
pissing me off. Because
maybe.
it's not a difficulty thing, it's just you're overwhelmed and it's pissing you off.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, Same thing with exploring the above ground, you're going to get overwhelmed. There is one thing that you can do, which is cool for the lore, but is so tedious, it's not even like fun. Because there's not really an incentive to like explore the world with no like real side quests or like you can look around and things look pretty, but it's like there's nothing to do. There's no people or anything. So why explore? But if you wanted to, the many step way of doing so are the fact that in the air in certain areas are these things called Hawk security balloons. They pretty much power the entirety of the consciousness in this circular area on the map.
Oh, like
So,
Star Wars.
yeah, sure. I don't know as much, so
It's okay.
I'll believe you. So, what you have to do is you have to go around and I think be near enough to the cameras in the area to sort of get them on your radar. Then go to this probe device, hack into it, select a camera on the map to view through, so like you can look through the cameras, find the pod that controls the hawk balloons, unlock it through the camera, go back to this pod, get inside, and you have this little spider drone thing that you can temporarily take the balloon out of the sky and have it be repaired. It's like 10 to 15 minutes. So every time you want to comfortably explore, you have to do this set of tasks. And then you have 10 to 15 minutes to explore before you have to either do it again or go to a different area and then do it then.
That sounds cool for the first time you do it.
I
And
didn't
then,
think it was because I had no reason to explore anyway.
yeah.
I already was loaded up with weapons. I had more than enough ammo. You get more than enough through the looting and just through regular levels and stuff than you realize, and that's what we're gonna get into now. Because it's such a pro and a con. One of the cool things that it does it has one of the most simplest ways of looting that I've ever seen. It's so straightforward. It works. It's great. You basically walk up and you double click the right bumper and you go into this sort of like scan vision to see everything that's lit up. You can see enemies through walls, or you can see just like the light blue of whatever can be looted. Then you go around and you hold RB to hold out your hand, and the little tendrils of Charles or whatever come out and start sucking up everything out of the drawers and the cabinets and everything. And there's a lot to loot. So you are going to be walking around these rooms 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, just collect. Oh, nope, I missed a desk. And I have to go behind the desk. It's so straightforward, and it will take you so much time to do
Yeah.
it all.
And then you die and you need to do it all again.
Yeah, I
That
I I,
happened to
I
me
save
so much.
constantly. There's no way like you can't. It's because then I'm like I'm not doing all that again. There's no way. It wasn't worth it. I have enough ammo and shit.
Yeah.
But through that looting, you do get a lot of resources. So why explore? That's the point. Um, and I said depending on the room, the gameplay just turns into a walking simulator. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing to do. You kill the enemies. That's it. Um, Once you collect your resources, you can head to the vending machine. Similar to BioShock, it talks to you. This one's name is Nora, and it comes out sometimes sort of like a multiple identity, where sometimes it's just the computer where it wants to sell you things, and sometimes it's Nora and it wants you to slap it on its carburetor and fucking like call it naughty and like choke it. Like it's so horny. It's so horny.
That was the point where I was like, okay, no, this game is not made for me, and I'm not gonna finish it ever.
Yeah.
That thing, the main character paired with this stupid fridge, that killed the game for me.
It's not every time, I will say. Like playing all the way
But
through to
enough.
the end of the game. I'd say like it's maybe one out of every 10 times later on. Like it kind of has to introduce itself and kind of get under your skin, and then as you
Mhm.
play, you're noticing it less and less, but it does pop up. Like I would play and I'd wait for it to come back and be like, "What do you want me to do now? You want me to spit in your fucking slot? I don't know."
Nora
they're
would
all over
want
the
that.
place. Probably.
Mhm.
It really wants you. It gets so intimate. Um Overall though, it's like your one-stop shop for everything you need. It has you can spend your resources there for items, abilities, weapons, upgrades. If you have the right blueprints, you can craft those things and then upgrade it from there. The
Oh,
weapons overall. Oh yeah,
you
oh,
know,
yes.
you know what I found so frustrating is that the vending machine shows you the most upgraded version of your weapons and not the version that you currently have. And I was like, I want my weapon to look as cool as that thing.
I know there are so many other things. My axe ended up having like that front like hook on it,
Uh-huh.
based off just like that's like this big spin move, which I
Yeah.
do like. But it does like this does look really cool, and that's like one of the coolest things that BioShock would do, and one of the coolest things is how they sort of rationed it, where you had to go up and you would find just these things on the walls that was like, this is an upgrade station. You can use it once,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like this upgrade station doesn't matter anymore, and you can pick one weapon and upgrade one thing on it.
Yeah.
And at visually, when you upgraded that weapon, it looked so much cooler. You got the shotgun, you upgraded it to for capacity. It had two rotating barrels on the side.
Oh
That's fucking
yeah,
sick. I loved it.
that's true. I remember that.
But it really made you think, what do I want to upgrade? This is just like, do I have to walk around like 30 rooms and hold my arm out so I have enough resources to get this upgrade? Like, that's
Do I need to
boo.
find the blueprint first?
Exactly. Like, you go to this part of the map, just fight every enemy and die 30 times on the way there.
Ah, yeah. Mm.
As you're playing, you get more weapons. You have you hold extra square, and that'll bring up like your little weapon wheel to select what you want. You have different health items as well. Uh, as we were saying, you can go out and get those blueprints to upgrade them. There are some different like heads for the axes and items for the guns that can make them do certain different things. Starting off, we have the axe called the Swede. It is the quintessential starter weapon in most shock-like games, but instead of using a wrench as we're used to, or a crowbar in certain cases, this uses a full-on axe. Um,
Fireman's axe.
it I have this that like I said, this one part that sticks off where if I hold the left trigger, it powers up an attack, and I just do like a full 360 spin, like 720, just whacking everything in proximity. Uh,
That disorientated me even more.
yeah, it's you gotta it's a lot, especially if you're like if you're playing like the way you are on a PC up
Yeah.
close, you're just
Yeah.
watching the whole world spin around you.
Yep.
You end up getting this little thing called the Electro, which is like this little shock pistol, which you have this set of energy reserves in the bottom corner. You start off with three, I believe, two or three, and you kind of use that as its ammo, and then it'll recharge over time. On normal, it takes a few shots to take out some drones. It's a good way to use it without having to start on your ammo and resources,
Yeah, I like that
which
one.
are semi scarce. They're kind of scarce, but not.
Yeah.
Um, we have later on, I got the Dominator, which is like almost an assault rifle version. You can either use it and it'll shoot out like a series of shocks, or you can hold the left trigger to like have a real big charge up explosion that uses the entirety of your three bars. We have the KS-23. It's the good old fashioned pump action shotgun. Not much more to say about that. Same thing with the MP, the Makarov pistol, just a standard semi-auto pistol. Finally, we have the Kalash, basically the AK-47. All your good old usual game shooties.
Yeah, what more do you need? I
Yeah.
feel like even those were almost too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to the point where I just alternated between the shotgun and the shotgun and didn't use anything else unless I had to go into melee.
I mean, that's pretty much what I was saying before. Like, there's all these things to go and like these blueprints and stuff. But like throughout the entire game, I used a majority of just like 2 to 3 weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
To which I feel like they want to incentivize replayability, but I'm not fucking playing that story again.
Oh, I don't know. Do you really think that's for replayability? That I don't know.
Because they're doing like builds in a way.
Probably, yeah.
we're
I'm not a
getting onto
person
those.
who pays mind to that anyways.
Well, we're getting into those now. There's different abilities and augments that you can upgrade your glove, Charles. You can focus on certain skills, which, like I said, makes it feel like you want to force replayability, because based off the things that I've seen in articles, you're better off with the amount of resources that you acquire focusing on basically 2 of them.
Yeah.
Now, one they force you to basically get in the beginning is the shock ability, which will automatically clip to Y or triangle, and that'll just kind of send out a quick pulse, which will kind of like stagger the enemies and like kind of freak them out for a little bit, and then so you can get like some damage onto them. Or in some cases on easy, you can do it to like a drone that'll just take it out and it's dead.
Nice.
Then one of the other ones that I ended up getting, which is probably the only other really good one, is Frostbite, where you just hold out your hand using RB and you just freeze everybody. and then you could just whack, 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 and sometimes the ice will break, and then you just freeze them again. You can go and get like cooldowns and stuff, so it's super useful and no need to use anything else. I ended up getting this like shield, polymer shield, where it's like it'll collect all the stuff, and then like you could send it back or what. And I never used it.
I
What's the
never
point?
use shield abilities in games. Control had one too. I never used it.
Yeah,
It's just not my style. I'm too aggressive.
yeah, no, that's the thing. Like you have to be super aggressive in this game. There's no real way to run, or the hiding isn't that great.
Nah.
And then like there's the personal player upgrades where they can health upgrades. You can do dashes, more dashes. There's one where you can just fully expand your storage space because you can only carry so much on your person, and in like a Resident Evil style way, the axe will take up 2 to 3 squares in your inventory, so you have to worry about that. One of them is the juggler ability, to which is necessary, 100% necessary, where it allows you to use a neuromod, the healing item, with only one hand. Otherwise, you're holding the axe or the shotgun, you're
Oh,
running around, and then you're like,
that took so long.
otherwise you're like, and then like Charles is like his tendrils are holding up, and you're like,
That's okay. That is necessary. You are
it is
absolutely in 100% right.
100% necessary. It's the game wouldn't be so much worse without it. We're getting on to all the fun enemies now. They all have fun names, but they're fine. Starting off, we have the Pleuche, which is an endoskeleton of a failed bionic creature experiment they were working on. It's
Were those
a
like the
lot of
normal robots?
no. This is like. Do you remember? Did you see the promo with Jensen Ackles just kind of running around destroying stuff? No,
No.
they did a promo with him just running around with like one of the weapons with the razor saw blades, just hacking away.
Oh, no,
It's
I didn't
it's.
see that one.
Did you play Prey 2017?
No.
Son of a bitch! God damn it! Fucking. Imagine if you had this big creature with pointy feet and pointy hands, and it was all just like really thick red arteries hanging all over it like fur.
Ooh.
Like it's all this
Okay.
like sloshy, like gross red bloody artery looking thing. It's that. It's
Okay.
gross.
Okay. Ew.
They're kind of spread out. There's the main robots that we all know, but there's also plants as enemies.
I
There's
found one of those. A few
did
of
you
those.
did you see the
The ones that look like
things on
clickers,
the
I found
wall?
them.
Yes. So there's this fungal thing spreading around, and its hive mind is called Mother. It's these like black goo that's stuck on the wall, and there's these like pods that shoot out these sprouts, which are these basically the drones of the plants. There's different variants of like fire, poison, etc., and those kind of seek out dead people, go into their brain, and basically make plant clickers or the hive or whatever you're accustomed to. They're fine. It's uneasy. They take like 2 slashes to kill. Same thing with some of the lesser robots. That's because with how overwhelmed you're gonna get, you want it to be as good as possible because you're feeling much more of a badass at least that way instead of just running around.
Yeah,
like,
I did not feel like a
die.
badass.
No,
Ever.
you don't, and not a normal. Which just reminds me that you can't feel like a badass. There's some climbing sections later on, first person climbing, where you're like hanging and like doing this thing and like moving over and like you're turning and like holding your arm out
It
to
was
jump, and the
so
platforming's
slow.
not great.
No.
It's really not.
It was so unintuitive too, I feel like.
Yeah,
That was not well implemented. I did not like that either.
not at all. No, it's bad. The amount of times you have to fall and then climb back up and do it again and again and again.
Yeah, especially there again in the beginning there was a section that was a main story section where you had to climb, and there was one ledge that was just you really
This was
had
when
to.
that's like worm thing kept coming
Yeah,
through.
exactly.
When that thing came through and made the hole in the wall, I died 5 times in a row. I could not time it right, and I kept dying every time he hit me.
it didn't hit me. I just couldn't reach the other ledge. I just
Yep.
kept falling. And
It's
then I was like, why is that not like a tiny bit nearer to me? This is the beginning of the game. You don't want me to do this 50 times.
no, they're
This
making
feels fun.
the entirety of the game is hard in every aspect.
Yeah, but
Unfortunately, putting it down to easy doesn't fix the climbing.
yeah, the thing is though, you know that hard can be fun. You know, you play
It
Souls
can be,
games and stuff, but
but
this
this
isn't
is
fun.
sloppy.
Yeah,
It's it's
exactly.
it's sloppy.
Yeah. That's the word. It's not hard, it's sloppy.
It is. Um, we got the main robot boys. The VOV-A6 Lab Tech. Uh, these are like the regular white and black bots that are going around.
With the
There's special
mustaches.
versions. Yeah, yeah. There's special versions that have like these shields that come out that you have to like either shoot the center of to make it go away, and they have like batons and they have these big arc attacks that go outwards. The easiest thing to do is just freeze them and then just hit them. They all
Fair.
do this really fast dash jump. They all run at you. It's
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yep.
We have the MFU 68 Laborer. These are like little puppies. If they like the puppies of the game, they're these saw blades, these little saw blade boys with just two legs, and that's it. So they're just walking around with saw blades, and they like the saw blades can extend and then like chuck them at you. But they're just like they're almost like I feel like they're the puppies of the game. We have the CP Duck. These things just kind of zip around, open up their head, and shoot bombs at you. They're annoying. The MED6 Doc. These guys run around with these big long legs, and they have these capsules come out of their back to like shoot to like kill them and like to do real big damage. They zap you. They're annoying. Um, the ARU 31-6 Rotorobot, Robot, something. Rotorobot. Anyway, these things have claws and like sights that stick out, and they like all they do is just run around and spin around and try to get you. They're also kind of annoying.
I feel
Uh,
like there's a theme here.
yeah, yeah. That's why it's easier to put it on easy. It's nicer. We mentioned before the Dandelion security camera. If you shoot them and take them out, you can't look through them. But they will also there are repair drones that'll come by and fix them. They
That was
will
very annoying.
it and they'll fix the robots too. So you got
Yep.
to take them out. Scattered around the overworld are these things called hives, which are like these domed little sheds, and they have holes around them that just spout out drones if you get caught by the cameras. I
Yep.
don't really know if there's an easy way to destroy them either, so you just got to run. To which the drones you will get, the one of the bigger ones is the LUC-1 Owl. These are more like farm laser drones, but they will come and get you. They'll come down and shoot you, and they're big and they're I wouldn't say they're as annoying as the standard drones. The WSP-9 Cella, that's where you have the laser, fire, shock ones, whatever. Fucking fire pieces of fucking stupid drone shitheads.
Yep.
You know?
They also just leave your eyesight and then you just get zapped in the ass.
And it's like I have no more ammo and I have to use my axe. Time to jump and miss and jump and
Yeah,
miss and jump and miss. And come
exactly.
down here. And I have to wait for shock to reload. Get down here. Um I think one of the things that stand out the most would be the bosses. Like we mentioned before, there's Hedgie, who is like one of the more well known. You take this giant zip line down into this huge like bowl, this gardeny bowl, and he's just like circling around, and you have to have him like crash into these pillars that you bring up, and then he does the thing where he has flaps that open up and these turbines that come out that you have to shoot, and then he'll close them up and zip around it back at you. That's where it really starts to feel kind of Dark Soulsy. Uh, really try to have you play with elements in this game. On some of the weapons, I have not fucking figured out how to use them, but there are these elemental capsules you could put
Oh
into the
yeah.
guns and
Yeah.
like make it so like you have fire bullets or ice bullets. I couldn't fucking figure it out. I couldn't find the button or anything. I had them in my inventory. I don't fucking know.
I think you needed a module on the
I
weapons.
upgraded it. My
Oh,
weapons were upgraded it.
okay.
What's the
then I don't.
deal with these elemental capsules?
Then I don't know. That's also a thing. The tutorials, some of them would just vanish. They were
Yeah.
on screen a second and then they were gone.
And also, you're walking into a room, you're gonna have like 30 million pop-ups. Are like, do this. This is how you do this. Right in the
Yeah,
beginning. That was annoying.
yeah.
But
How
you gotta
many
run
bosses
around.
were there? Were there?
Overall, I think there were 4 main boss fights.
Were they
There's
fun?
the final boss fight with the twins pissed me off so fucking much. So while you're playing throughout the game, there's a chance for some of the standard lab tech enemies to come and like pick you up, and like you have to do like a, even with the Pleiush certain boss fights, you have to do quick time events, and there are these really small, very
Oh yeah.
fast,
Oh my god.
white. They're hard to see, and even inside, like it's hard to see what button they want you to push on the inside, and it's like you got to be ready to do it.
Yeah.
And it can either be a quick tap or you have to like really like tap it fast or else you'll die. And it's like, all right, I had to learn that very fast. But during the final boss fight with the twins, to start off the boss fight, you're in a quick time event, and it's so fast and it changes. It was between B and X, and it kept changing, and I kept fucking missing it. I missed it like 6 times in a row, and I was furious. And then
I
if you
can
die,
imagine.
get to do it again.
Yay.
Now, I don't know if I would have been able to do it if I didn't have it on easy. Because this game was already at my limits, and I
Yeah, the
was
quick
thinking
time events were very, very quick. I missed them so much, so often.
it's and I there's probably a way to change it, but it's like I already just want to get this game over with at this
Mm.
point.
Mm.
Um, it was towards the end though, during those sections where I feel like I had the most fun because it was like I feel like we were really building up to something leading up to the conclusion, and then we got the conclusion, and it was exactly the same with almost no difference except for the main character fully dying.
What was the ending then? What's the ending? You're just in a world of robots now. Is that the end?
You're in
Is
a world
that
of robots. You walk up. You and Sechenov are talking back and forth, trying to figure out shit. He's trying to tell you, "Oh, here's the big thing. You have amnesia. You're brainwashed. You don't know what's going on. During this big explosion that got you injured and filled you with prosthetics, your wife also died. Her consciousness was uploaded into the twins.
that are my sex toys, by the way. You're
The
welcome.
the twins are your wife, her consciousness, and killing them
No.
set her consciousness free. And now she's
Oh,
free. But like she doesn't exist anymore. But like she's not held down, so she's free. So that happens,
great.
which who cares? Um you walk in and you do the whole reveal. Sechenov's like, I'm kind of just trying my best, and then you find out Charles's whole shtick, and it's like, Charles, you were the bad guy this whole time, and then Charles like gets hacks himself out and does something, and puts himself into this like bubbly goo or whatever, and like kills P3 and just walks over, and he's like looking out the window, and it's just like it's just BioShock. The twists are everything. You've been controlled. A man chooses, a slave obeys the entire time, and you're an asshole.
Yeah.
You think you're so right throughout the entire time. You have killed so many people that were truly right. The whole point of there's one whole section with Petrov that
Yeah, Petrov, exactly.
you stop him from turning the bots off and fixing everything, only
Yeah.
to get to the end and being like, "Oh my god, Petrov was right. Oh my god, I was wrong. Uh-oh. Whoops." Like, oh my god.
Oh no. But why did Sechenov want you to stop him then?
He didn't he wanted to get his shit and like do, but like that's his thing. He doesn't necessarily want you to stop him. He also just wants you to be able to see the true truth that Charles is truly the bad guy, and really, because just like Andrew Ryan, he's doing what he thinks is right
You
and just
know,
trying his best. He's not inherently evil.
just fucking talk, dude. Just
It's
tell me.
it's so bad. Literally just like, but he's like your dad. It's like, but dad, why didn't you say this before I killed everybody? You know, like
Do you feel like they are setting this up for a sequel?
they better not,
Okay.
because it's just
Come
gonna
on.
be BioShock 2, and that story was even worse than the first one.
I never played BioShock 2, so
It was still good. It's still good, but oh my goodness gracious, I hope not. I'm so here. Here's my little conclusion
yeah.
that I wrote. Atomic Heart tries very hard to be wacky and different and succeeds in most cases. Towards the end, though, it just winds up being way too much of the same. The pretty overworld feels pointless as you're encouraged to get to where you need to go as quickly as possible, and though you're able to make the surrounding area much calmer, albeit through a few steps, there lacks incentive to explore the large offering. An experience full of highs and lows make Atomic Heart a complicated figure. Its conclusion veers too far into explored territory, taking away any chance it really had to stand out. With overall high points coming from combat and the imaginative setting, this shorter than expected experience gets a 6.5 crispy critters from me. Thank you, Game Pass.
Thank you, Game Pass.
It's so frustrating because I wanted this to be so good. And whenever things are compared to BioShock, Prey 2017 is a real big one for me. I am a huge Prey 2006 fan. I love that game to death, and I am still absolutely heartbroken at Prey 2's cancellation, like fully in 2013. And that game finally came out, and once I was able to really look at it as its own beast, it was so good. It does that BioShock formula so well, and it does its own thing. And there's Atomic Heart.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people had exactly that reaction, like outside of all the controversy. That
Mhm.
seems to be the thing that I heard the most. That it was like I expected so much more from this game than what we got in the end.
And this game has been shown off since 2017, but apparently there are videos out there that this game might have been conceptualized and sort of just kind of like early pre-production as early as like 2007 2008 when BioShock came out. And it's not like you can wait like 20 years and just do it again, because I'm gonna fucking notice.
Yeah, that's so much the thing with gaming in general, because depending on the size of the studio and the amount of money that's involved, games will come out sooner or later, and then they
Mm-hmm.
will be compared to what has come before, even though sometimes it had the same idea at the same time, it just got released later.
Yeah,
But yeah, doing
I'm
I
asking
feel
where the
like
common
at,
sense
at the
is.
point in 2023 when you have the whole BioShock trilogy, you need to go back and be like, do we really want to tell that story again? Or
Again,
yeah,
to a T.
or do we maybe want to change something?
And like, I'm at the point now, just give me BioShock 4. This put like a bad taste in my mouth. This was way too salty. I need something nice and sweet and make me comfy. This is not it.
We'll see what Judas is gonna be. Maybe that's
Yeah, I'm excited for Judas too. I don't know what we'll get first. I actually ended up deleting Atomic Heart a second credits were done,
I believe
because
you.
what else am I gonna do?
Yeah,
I beat it.
I was like, I'm gonna record the gameplay, I'm gonna send it to Dylan, and then I will see if I like the game. And
Mm-hmm.
then parts of it I felt like were fun. Like when I got into the combat, I was kind of like, okay, if I give this a little bit more of a chance, maybe it can show me what it's got and it's fun and blah blah blah. But the main character, I just every time he opened his mouth, I was just like, shut up, just shut up. I do
It's
not enjoy this game with you. Just shut up. But it just
we
kept being that, and then I was like, okay, it's just not for me. It's not a game that's made for me.
no, I mean, we're not the only ones who think that. We have a couple write-ins actually that express the same fatigue that we can feel. Nave back again from the Gaming Together podcast at Game Together Pod on Twitter, asks, do you think writing in lore that the bad guy made all the 3D printers only make garbage, basically low-tier weapons first, and horny as balls to embarrass anyone using them is a good world building, or is it just the devs' barely disguised fetish? I personally love how that's explained. I think one of the funniest things is the rumor going around that there was a 6-hour cutscene of having sex with the twins, and people were so upset, like as a joke, like I can't believe that this isn't going to be a thing. I think that if you were to make a game like this, at like a BioShock game, you don't need to make it slutty. There's no good comfy way to explain this as a lore device and have it make sense. It's
Yeah,
so unnecessary. Like
exactly.
90% of movies and shows where they force romance and just like a couple and stuff and it doesn't work, it's just so garbage and thrown away. Why?
I also feel like I think they thought this was funny, and that's why it's in the game.
Like it has its moments. I'll laugh at some jokes here and there, but this is like some 10-year-old walked into the board meeting and was
Yeah.
like, I just discovered what porn was. You guys got to try this. Like
This this
it's
to this to me feels like this was an idea, and then they said, "Great, let's let's put lore on top of it to explain why it's in the world."
and
I
then like
don't
what
think.
every year anniversary they come in and they're like, this is still a good idea, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it feels like. I don't think it's. Uh, I don't love how that's explained because
No.
it's just. I just think they thought this was funny and that's why it's in the game, and I don't like it.
There's a lot of things this game doesn't need. There's a lot of things this game does that it shouldn't.
Yeah.
Going off what we were saying before, Nick from Friday Night Gamecast at Friday Night Gamers on Twitter asks, if you could be in the writer's room with the team that put this together, how would you change the dialogue? There was a lot of things that I would personally change. Dialogue is
Yes.
not very high on the list. I would change the overall story, but dialogue, I can get the joke and think it's funny to a point because there's a version of comedy where you repeat it and it's funny and then you keep repeating it and it's not funny, but if you repeat it enough it somehow gets funny again. Crispy Critters never got funny again. It never did.
I think that's the thing. If they were going for parody, then you really have to say, I'm gonna commit to the parody part.
You
And
have to
that's
let
not
people know.
only and that's not exactly, and that's not only in the dialogue, that's also in performance.
Mhm.
And I think that was a big part. I don't think the performance made it parody. I also
Most
don't
of
think the dialogue didn't. But
most of the sections in the game where those things are like the high points are absolutely overacting and over like just an over rational moment of like, let me just kill this guy and panic and let me it's a lot of close-ups of him like having a panic attack and it's just like it's so hard to take any of this seriously, and even if it doesn't want to take itself seriously, no one told us.
yes, if I were to change the dialogue, I would either completely rewrite the main character, or I would really go for this is meant to be funny, so I'm going
Hmm.
to make it funny and not
Yeah,
try to be both, because that
it's
never ever works.
it gets a little bit of that forspoken, just awkward shit being said that doesn't need to be, and it never really recovers from it.
Yeah, it reminds in points it reminds me of Kingdom Come Deliverance. That had that exact same problem.
At points, yeah, but yeah, I could definitely see that.
Hmm.
But that still did a better job in
It
most
did,
parts.
it did, it did. But there were points in there where they were throwing around fucks, and I was like, why? It's not necessary. It doesn't help the world building at all. It's just weird.
It is. Ugh.
It's a
We
shame. It's a shame.
It is.
I think this could have been.
This could have been so much better. This could have
Yeah.
been so much higher. It could have been so much more polished. It could have been so much more thought out, and it's just not. We have some little news, trivia, fun things going on. I don't know if you call this fun. Due to the current state of the world affairs involving the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, the former is calling a countrywide ban on the digital sale of the game and has formally sent out letters to Valve, Xbox, Sony, Microsoft, everything to just get rid of this game and cease the sale of it. Because basically, of its glorification of their alternate version of the USSR.
Yeah, there are also some things in there that I saw that feel very anti-Ukrainian. So I understand.
Even
They
if it's
very much.
just true to what Russia is, and it's not necessarily a poke or a push, it seems like Russia in general is anti-Ukraine. So
Yep,
whether it's meant to be a poke or a push, it is what it is.
exactly.
If you're putting it in there, it's
Should
gonna be
not be
bad.
there. Yep.
Yeah. Um. On a little more positive note, it makes me giddy when these little things happen. Uh, Fantastically, one of my favorite Easter eggs in any game appears right in the beginning. As you're in the boat going, you hear two guys talking to your right, and they're saying, "Oh, what's the code for this?" It's like, "Oh, don't worry, it's 0451," which is a very well-known Ray Bradbury Fahrenheit 451 video game Easter egg that is well known through all the Shocks and similar type games. Dishonored, almost the first code used in any game like these is going to be a variation of 0451.
We should just all do that. The first time we get a code, we just put that in and see if it works without looking
I do
around.
it every time. I do
Yeah,
it every time
I
because it's so
never
well
do.
known. Dishonored, BioShock, all the BioShocks, Prey. There's I think probably Deathloop had it as well at some point. There's every game, Wolfenstein, so many that have it, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things. Um, and just out of curious of everyone else's reception, we ran a poll on Twitter and Instagram recently. Atomic Heart clearly is inspired by the Bioshock series and deals with some heavy topics. So, who pulls it off better? Out of everyone who voted, 18% go for Atomic Heart. Enjoy that boat. Have fun with it. 64% said Bioshock Trilogy is the king. And that is something I can agree with. But personally, I am with the other 18%. Just give me Bioshock 4. That's all
Do
I
you think
want.
that's ever gonna happen?
Bioshock 4?
Mhm.
Oh, it's currently in development by Cloud Chamber right now. It's been a few years, but we're waiting. I'm waiting.
Okay.
I need it.
Hope has not died.
God, no, not at all. Okie dokie. We have some notable game releases to pop off right here at the end. If we want to go back and forth, I will start off on March 14th, 2023, coming to PC and Xbox Series X and S. We have The Forest Cathedral. Seems like a fun little puzzle game. I try to
Oh,
look
I'm
up
looking
everything.
forward to that one. That looks so good.
It does look like fun. There's
Yeah.
very few things that really stick out the most to me, but I like this one.
I do not like the poster, the like main art for the game because I think it's
Mhm.
far too overloaded. But I really I like what I've seen.
Yeah.
And next we have Valheim also coming out on March 14th, finally for Xbox Series S and X.
I thought we talked about this last week on the last episode, but I feel like it
Yeah.
also got pushed back a few days because it's saying the 14th now, which is this week. So who knows?
I don't remember.
After that, we got Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon coming March 17th, 2023 on Switch.
I'm confused. Didn't we just have a Bayonetta game?
We had Bayonetta 3. This is like a prequel, top-down, different game.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then we have WWE 2K23. That's a mouthful. Coming
Where's
out on
Dylan?
March. Thank God he ain't here.
Thank God I don't have to take the headset off.
Coming out on March 17th for PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Xbox One.
Next, we have The Voidness coming on March 17th to PC and EA Play, it seems.
No, it's early access.
Early access, it seems. What the fuck is it?
It's like a horror sci-fi game where you go into complete darkness and you only have a scanner with which you can look around, and then maybe something might be right beside you all along. It looks very creepy.
Outlast. Yuck.
A little bit, yeah. I guess it's not gonna be quite as violent. I would
Yeah, no,
imagine.
I don't like hide and I don't like hide and run games. Boo.
I can see. I can
Yeah,
see why. Yeah. And then we have last but not least Chia coming out on March 21st for PC and PS5. That's like a
I'm very
third
excited for this
person
one.
adventure game. It looks so cute. And you can turn into everything that you can
You
see.
could become animals. You could fly around and turn into a fishy and be a little goat and run around.
Yeah.
That looks fun.
Or just become a ball and roll.
Yeah,
I feel like
it
that's
looks
what
like a
I
little
would do.
fun, turn your brain off,
Yeah.
just happy go lucky
Yeah.
game.
A little cozy game.
Okie dokie though, that'll be it and Dunzo.
How do you feel
Thank you.
now?
I feel empty. That I've wasted my time with Atomic Heart. It was fine. I had fun with it at points. I'm glad it's over. I've it was this is one of those things where it was the same level of disappointment for when it was first announced to when I played it as I did for Outriders. That game looked
Oh.
incredible, and then
Mhm.
they showed what Outriders really was, and I was like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
nice.
I had a similar experience with Blanc. But
Yeah,
that game was also only an hour and a half long, so
yeah.
not
What are
7
you
hours.
gonna do?
Yeah.
But
Sometimes games disappoint.
they do. It happens.
Oh.
But this is a big packed year. We got a lot of fun stuff coming. But
Yeah.
that should do it for today. Thank you to everyone who is listening. Please check us out: Spotify, Twitter, Amazon, YouTube, Bed Bath and Beyond, Best Buy, laundromats, anywhere that's close to you.
Your
Uh,
church.
check us out. March 21st. Lyle will be heading us off with the Pale Beyond, talking about that.
Woo-woo!
And Dylan should be back by then, and we'll have a full troop going.
Yeah.